Today, we're going to talk about lessons from Warren Buffett's annual letters to shareholders. And I'm also going to share 5 danger zones in the Bible on being rich. How are you guys today? My name is Cathy McReynolds, and I am the founder of Bible Business Academy, where we help people create their own business with biblical principles. Or perhaps you're one who already have a business and you want to do it God's way, then you have found yourself at the right place. So let me know where you are tuning in from. If this is your first time joining us, welcome. We're excited to have you out. If you've been around, you want to make sure that you grab your show notes. If you don't have your show notes, guys, get your show notes. Each and every Thursday when we come on here is to give you free tips, free training on how to grow your business, how to market it, how to advertise, how to build a team, sales, anything that you need when it comes to building a business. We're here to help you. So whether you're a coach, just getting started as an entrepreneur, you have a product you want to get out there, you have an idea in your head and you have no idea where to get started at, and you want to have God first in your life, then Bible Business Academy is the right place to help you get that done. So welcome out, guys. Go to BibleBusinessAcademy.com if you need help on and want to know more. And you can also download one of our free resources for you. So today is going to be a little different. It's kind of like, before I dive into that, I'm going to go ahead and just hit the share button and get us shared out to one of our groups. So if you do me a favor, if you go ahead, if you're watching this, go ahead and hit that live button yourself. Of course, you have it set up and then it's not going the way you need it to go. Okay, so we're right here. I'm going to, if you're watching this. Okay, so y'all here, we know we are live. Captions auto generated, and I'm just going to share this to one of our groups, and then I'm going to share it to one of our pages. So give me a few seconds, y'all. I appreciate it. Well, we'll get the other one. Okay, we got it all done. We're all shared out. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to walk you through some of the ways that we do research and the reason why I'm sharing this with Warren Buffett's annual sales letter. And also, we're going to share some scriptures for you that you want to take a look at when it comes to growing your business, so that, God said you always want to have him first in mind and everything that you do. So this will help you to do that. So let me go ahead and switch out. I'm going to switch this over, and now we have me over there. And then I'm going to come over here and I'm going to go through. This is the actual show notes. So when you download these show notes, you'll be able to see everything that we're showing you right here. I'm going to make that a little smaller. There we go. So that you guys can see that. And let me just double check and make sure that you are seeing everything okay there. All right, so we're going to talk about today, as I said, lessons from Warren Buffett's annual letter to shareholders and 5 danger zones in the Bible on being rich. And I'm going to take you through. So whenever you're starting a business, you always want, even the Bible says seek wise counsel. And that wise counsel does not always have to be someone you're having a conversation with. It could be from a video. It could be from reading books. It can be from doing research. So there's a lot of different ways that you can seek wise counsel. So we're going to walk you through some of the things that we look at, some of the places that we take ideas from when it comes to growing our business. But make sure you grab your show notes today. And as I said, we're talking about lessons from Warren Buffett's annual letter to shareholders and 5 danger zones in the Bible on being rich. So if you got questions as we go through this, make sure you drop them in the comments. And I can't see them right now, but at the end, I will come back and get all your questions answered. And our scripture for today is Proverbs 10:22. It says the Lord's blessings make a person rich. It's not the person, it's the Lord's blessing. And we're under the blessing, of the Lord. So he is looking to make you rich and no trouble added to it. So that's something that, I had to learn, that because we are always taught, you got to struggle, you got to do all of this in order to make it. That's not what he said. And when you start really diving into the word, you see that when he makes things happen, it happens, in that year. It happens like now. And it's all in our mindset and how we think. So that's why we come on here to share these different ways so that you can start looking at business in a different way. And that's the key thing. I think in the business that I had the most success in, that, there was no pain in them. It was fun. It's enjoyment. Like, business is meant to be fun. Now, will you have challenges? Of course you will. I've had several of them today already. You're going to have challenges, but how you handle them and how you move through them when you have God as your guide is completely different. So that's why it's important for you to make sure that you're doing that. So the next thing that we're going to talk about, on your show notes, and you'll hear somebody. I'm actually in the Virginia area, and someone's knocking at the door there, and I can't even answer it because I'm on a live here, with family stuff and all of that going on. But what you want to do is, when you get your show notes, you can click here and you'll be able to download Warren Buffett's shareholders letters, and you'll be able to get that downloaded and make that happen. And also, on your show notes, you want to make sure that you write down the top 3 follow-up tasks, so that after the show is over, you'll be able to write down what you need to do. Because anytime you watch something or you learn something, it's not just to watch it and learn it. You want to be able to take action. Faith without works is dead. So this is part of the works that you want to look at and write down your intentions for what the show is for today. Let me turn that off. So before we jump into Warren Buffett, I want to go over some of the scriptures so that you can write those down. So I want to share those here with you. So danger 1, the desire to get rich. And I'm not on the show. I'm going to spend most of the time going over his letter, and we're going to go through that. But I want you to go back, grab your show notes, and actually write these down. If you don't have your show notes, all you need to do is just grab a piece of paper and write the notes down until you get it. You can send me a message, or if you are not a part of our email family, go to BibleBusinessAcademy.com and you can get a copy of these as well. So danger 1, the desire to get rich, and that's in 1 Timothy 6:10. So you want to go, I'm giving you guys some homework here. So go to these scriptures, write down what you find out about the desire to get rich in 1 Timothy 6:10, and then make sure, this is important, to read the entire chapter, read all of chapter 6 so that you can learn more about everything that you want to know. Danger 2, worry about money. Matthew 6:25-34. So that's danger number 2. We're talking 5 dangers that we're going to share with you. See, the Bible, it says up in, the Bible will give you so many, it talks so much about money, but what it really talks about a lot is the danger of it. It's not that God doesn't want you to be rich. He wants you to be rich. He put you here for a purpose. He does not wish for people to struggle or to have challenges or any of that stuff. He wants you to have that growth, to have that desire, to be able to grow, to be able to change your life, and to be able to make life happen for you. But there is a danger in focusing on money instead of focusing on God. And so that's what we want to help you with. Danger number, where we at? Number 3, trusting in wealth rather than God. I was just talking about that. That's in Luke 12:16-21. So go read up on that. And danger number 4, loving money as your God, putting money first when no man can actually serve 2 masters. It'll give you some insight into that scripture. And then danger number 5, y'all, is using your money to oppress other people. And you can find information on that in James 2:6 and Isaiah 3:15, Amos 2:6-7. Wise men fear the temptation that wealth brings. So once you get all of that down, what I want you to do is take notes from the Bible. And if you're part of our training program, we actually will go into all of that. But today, as I said, I'm going to flip back over here and I'm going to switch the screen. And then what we're going to do is we're going to talk about the shareholders letter. And I'm going to, let me share. I'm going to stop share there. And then I'm going to share my screen. Let's see. I'm going to put up the letter. And show you what we look at when we're okay. Yeah, let me get it back up here. Okay, so I got this from CB Insights. And what I do, this is a research company, but you can, when you click download on those letters, you're actually going to get his letters. Make sure that you read it, like download it. I'm just going to cover some of the lessons that you can get from there, but you want to make sure that you go back and that you actually read the shareholders letter. So when we start here, and I'm going to tell you why before I go into it. Pretty much everybody knows Warren Buffett, right? And they know who he is, or heard of the name, especially if you're in business. So would you probably agree that he is someone that you can go to for wise counsel? So if you can't pick up the phone or schedule an appointment to actually be with him, you can get inside of his mind by reading his shareholders letters. Over the last 40 years, he's written an open letter to the shareholders, and it's an annual required reading across the investment world, and it provides you insight as to how his team thinks, how he thinks, from his investment strategy to his stock ownership to his company culture and more. So not only would I suggest that you read his letter, I'm suggesting that you do that with a lot of other top performers out there. Read their letters. And I'm going to share a little of his background. And at the age of 26, and he was a Nebraska stockbroker and a school teacher, Warren Buffett, he took his retirement fund of $174,000 and he decided to start his own investment business. And as some of you may or may not know, I'm actually a licensed financial advisor, and that's why our goal is to help people with their faith and their finances. So I find it very intriguing to go into the minds of billionaires to see how they think, why they think that way. Why is that? Because that's my desire in order to make that happen. And, as the word says, you have to be renewed by your mind. You have to change your mind, and you have to have faith. Like, these are all the things that you'll find when you go and read that stuff that I shared with you, and also along with the dangers that comes along with not doing it the right way. I've not done it the right way for a lot of years. And so I want to shorten your learning curve and help you get there quicker. And so it goes to say 2 decades later, he was a billionaire. So it took him 2 decades to become a billionaire. And the Oracle of Omaha is what they call him. His net worth is around $85 billion. And this is as of, we're in September of 2021 right now, as I'm sharing this with you, making him the 4th wealthiest person in the United States after Jeff Bezos, another CEO who has shareholders letters, Bill Gates, Mark Zuckerberg, and the Berkshire Hathaway firm, and their share prices of their Class A shares cost upward of $330,000. Now, you can also get the full report from this company, but I'm just going to share some of the stuff that they shared and some of their lessons and takeaways that you can use those in your business, and we can share with you how you can make that happen. It says Berkshire Hathaway fundamental strategy has been to identify valuable companies and then acquire increasingly large portions of them. So all that basically means in plain English is that he seeks to buy companies or buy their stock from them and then take over them. Among his most valuable holdings in his stakes and his juggernauts of the American economy, he has Coca-Cola. He has a 9.3% stake in that. He has a 5% stake in Apple, and that market value there is just 120 billion. See, so some people think you have to start your own company. You don't have to start your own company. You can invest in other people's companies. You can do that through buying the stock. You can do that through being an affiliate, through partnership, through multi-level marketing. There's lots of different ways you can let someone else do all the work up front, and then you can come behind, and that's another way to invest it to grow your net worth by investing in other people's business. Or you can here's the reason why I look at this is because as we grow Bible Business Academy out, I want people to invest in our business. I want like a Warren Buffett to come and say, hey, I want to buy a piece piece of your business. And all that means is when they buy stock in there, they're giving you cash in order for you to be able to use that to grow your business. And I'm pretty sure as we go through this, you'll see what we're talking about and how some of the lessons you can take and put in your business. And I want you to think on a different level. I want you to think about not just having a ma pa in your county, city type business. I want you to think worldwide. Like, why? And nothing God does is small. So why not you? Why not have a big, huge business that impacts people all around the world? Why not have investors like Warren Buffett come into you saying, hey, I like what you got going here. I want to buy a piece of your business. He has 19% of American Express, 11.9% of Bank of America, 9.8% of the U.S. Bank Corp. He has 60 companies, including Geico. I didn't realize that he actually owned Geico, but he actually owns, pretty much took over that Geico, Dairy Queen, and Fruit of the Loom. And it's also full of obscure success too, like See's Candy. And obscure just simply means stuff that you wouldn't even think that's part of it. So you don't ever want to eliminate anything without a conversation. Always be up to having conversations about everything. And he calls his See's Candy his dream business. And the reason why, for 25 million, he bought it for 25 million in 1972, and in 2019 it brought in well over 2 billion. So that's an 8,000 return. So think of your candy. This was, a little small company at 25 million in 1972, and in 2019 it was over $2 billion. So your company, maybe it hasn't even hit a million yet. That's okay. Everybody started at zero. Everybody started at the number zero. So that just gives you an idea of what you can do. And this is what I find really, really interesting. When you're looking at his shareholder letter that came out early in the year, he actually lists, and I'm going to try to make this a little bigger for you guys to be able to see that out there. He actually lists from each year the growth that happened. And so when you think of the scripture in the Bible, it talks about any wealth that's gained quickly diminishes, but if it's gained little by little by little, it actually gets better over time. So if you look at him in 1965, his annual percentage change in the per share market value of his company, Berkshire, was 49.5, and the S&P 500 with dividends was only 10%. So the S&P 500 is just the top 500 companies in the United States, and that's used as a benchmark to determine how other companies are doing and then you can determine how your company is. So if you're a part of the S&P 500, everything is compared to you, like the Dow Jones 30, that's only 30 companies that everybody compares themselves to. So that's gives you an idea of that. But you can see it was at 10% 1965 when he first started. Now, 1966, it went down 11.7%. See, this is when it went down. And also the value of his company went down 3.4%. After, it got started, it was great, everything was good, everybody was buying, and then everything went down. So if your business went down the second year, would you quit? Most people do. This is where most people lose it, because they give up too soon. They quit the game. I've been an entrepreneur for 25 years, and some people get it quick. Some people take a longer time. But if you stick in there and you keep God first, he will give you the desires of your heart. Sometimes you have to wander in the desert because you're not being obedient and you're not paying attention. So if you can learn to pay attention quicker and stay focused and know and seek that wise counsel, it can help your business. But if you just go through this, and when you download, so if you go to BibleBusinessAcademy.com and you get our show notes, you'll be able to download this. And of course, you can go search it on the web, but you look here at in 19 so let's say in 1966 he would have said, oh man, I had a great first year, this was good. But remember, he took all of his investments, 175,000, and he invested that, and then he lost 11.7%. So most people are crying at that point thinking, oh my god, my retirement money is gone, I've lost all of it. I've been there. I've taken all of the money out of my 401k or 403, whatever it was, to start businesses, or out of my investment accounts to start businesses, just to see them go away. It's just part of the game, right? Only the strong survive here. But look what happened in 1968. It went up 77.8%. And then it went, let's see, right here, 11.0%. You look here, 1974, drop of 48.7%. We go all the way down and bring it down to 2008 when the market world went crazy. He crashed down 31.8%, down 37%. And I think he had another, I was just trying to see. So this is like, as I said, I'm doing research with you, showing you how I go and look at some stuff. So if we bring that all the way down to 2020, his compound annual interest from 1965 to 2020, it's only a 20% gain for his company. So, and I say only, but it's worth billions and billions of dollars. So it's up 20%, and it's up 10% compared to the S&P 500. So that's not like a huge, hundreds of thousands of, gains on that, but it's steady growth, doing the right things. And I'm going to share some of the lessons that you can learn from what he does and how you can stay the course. So when you see all this get rich quick stuff out there, and you think you got to have these, massive triple dipple, 4 times, 6 times returns, that's not how Warren Buffett did it. That's not how the Bible say to do it. So you got to think about these things when you're looking at building a business. It says beyond some tremendous wins, Buffett himself is in some ways another quite success. He preaches the importance of fiscal responsibility, and he still lives in his house he bought in Omaha for $31,500 in 1958. He eats at McDonald's and drinks at least 5 to 12 ounces of Coca-Cola every day. So with that being said, do you think he's in it for the money? No, because if it was all about accumulating stuff and just getting stuff, he would have moved and got something else. And I'm not saying if you want those things, something's wrong with that. No, you have every right to say, yeah, I want to have that lifestyle. You can have whatever you want, but learn that lesson, because he wasn't chasing money. His core was to find some of the stuff that I'm going to share with you. And that's one of the warnings that you'll see when you read those scriptures about not having money be your main focus. You don't want money to be your main focus. You want God and serving people to be your main focus, and the money will follow. It goes on to say this down-to-earth quality comes through in Buffett's letters. So if you're not a public company where you have shareholders letters, every Monday we put out different marketing tips, and one of those tips is newsletters. So maybe you can have a monthly newsletters to your subscribers or your partners or your customers, so that you can share some of the stuff that he shares in his annual letters to them, to keep people coming back around. It says in between those current holdings, he tells jokes, he shows anecdotes, and relates quippy aphorisms to help illuminate his core points. So it shows his personality. The reason why you want to write letters or have a shareholders letter or have a newsletter or a sales letter, whatever it is, you want to have something that you send out every single month, at least once a month, to the people who follow you, but you want to put your personality in it. And so let's talk about some of his quotable collections. that has come from these letters. In 2008, in one of his letters, price is what you pay, value is what you get. I've even utilized that saying in some of my slides. It says 2005, for investors as a whole, return decreases as emotions increase. So take your emotions out of it, right? Business is not about feelings, it's about numbers, right? So you have to take your emotions out of it. Anytime you have your emotions in it, your returns decrease. So take a look at when your business was up, when it was down, or if you can't get it started because you're emotionally attached to it. You have to learn to remove those emotions from your business in order for your business to grow. And be fearful when others are greedy, and greedy only when others are fearful. Right? 2004 and 2001, one of his famous things says, you only find out who's swimming naked when the tide goes out. So that's in 2001. So I'm going to skip down here to this research and talk about some of the other lessons that came from them. He said executive compensation. I really love this one, and I've taken this and adopted into our businesses that we have. We have IceFit Studio and Bible Business Academy and Expert Course University, and I really love this. And take a look at this, because this is how you can bring other people into your business and help it to grow while you're in the beginning of building it without putting a lot of money out of it. So he says executive compensation. Executives should only eat what they kill. And I think, if you have people that are coming in, marketers and all of that stuff, you can consider them as your executives. It says in 1991, they acquire H&H Brown Shoe Company, and at the time, the leading manufacturer of work shoes in North America. And in the shareholder letter, he talks about a few reasons why he did that. And so one of the things that he really liked about the CEO, Frank Rooney, is that he said, instead of, this is what he did, and this is kind of what we do with our sales team as we're bringing on people to help us grow our business to the goal that we have. He said, instead at H&H Brown, instead of managers getting stock options or guaranteed bonuses, every manager got paid $7,800 a year. So if you take that from today's money, you're talking about $14,500. So it's pretty much minimum wage, maybe $1 over, right? Plus a designated percentage. Here's the great part of it, right? Plus a designated percentage of the profits of the company after these are reduced by a charge for capital employed. So what that basically means, like I was on the phone today, I'm interviewing a sales team for our company. And one of the things that we do is we have a couple ways that they can receive compensation. One is 100% straight commission. So if they do 100% straight commission, that means they're going to do 10%. So if our goal as a company over the next 18 months is to do $10 million and you bring in $1 million of that, well, 10% of $1 million is $100,000. So that's $100,000 that someone who's on straight commission can learn how to do really in about 20 hours a week. So that becomes that partner. So this is something that you can think about. Oh, well, maybe you're just getting started and you need a sales team to help you sell and get, because that's what it's about. You got to help people. If you don't sell nothing, you're not going to make any money, right? So you can either pay them a small salary and put them on commission. So like for us, if we pay them a small salary, usually a little above what minimum wage is, then what happens is their commission is 2 to 5%. So, but if they go straight commission, they're at 10% plus bonuses. So, and it also lets you see the character of the person. It says each manager, in other words, received a portion of the company's profit minus the amount that they spent in terms of capital to generate those profits. And so that could be the marketing. It could be just different things. Maybe they're out, like they deduct that from all of that and they get the profit of that. The results was that each manager at H&H Brown had to stand in the shoes of the owners. If you can get people to buy in and be a part of what you're doing instead of to just be an employee of what you're doing. And you're doing all of the work, and all you're doing is positioning them as a marketer. That's why we always say the best position of a business owner is to be a marketer. That means that you have to put quality people in front of the people that you want to serve. When you can get them to take ownership through 100% commission or to get paid off of a profit, they take a personal responsibility to that. And there's a lot of people that want to do that. They do it in affiliate marketing. They don't want to do all of the other work that's required. So that's where they're at. So Warren Buffett is a strong believer in that kind of eat what you kill philosophy of executive compensation. So just to give you an idea, I took that one idea right there and I utilized that in our compensation in order for us to help us grow our company. So what can you do? How can you use that in your business and change that? And let me share a few more with you guys. So that he talks about that in his value walk. Number 2, don't give your executive stock options as compensation. And it's once you read this, you can see the reasons why. I'm just going to skip through that one because it just makes sense. It says Charlie Munger, Berkshire Hathaway vice chairman, and I are disgusted by the situation so common in the last few years in which shareholders have suffered billions in losses while the CEOs, promoters, and other higher ups who fathered this disaster have walked away with extraordinary wealth. So that means the people at the top were making all the money, all the people working for these salaries, and down at the bottom and the shareholders, they're not making money. So this will stop that from happening by not that. So you want to make sure that you don't, if you're at that position. Number 3, buy stock as an owner, not as a spectator. And what does it mean? As an owner, not as a speculator, I'm sorry, or a spectator, right? It says when many investors buy stock, they become price obsessed, constantly checking the ticker to see if their money is up or down on any given day. Now, I just showed you, and we just talked about that, how the year 1, it was up, year 2, it went down. If you look through that, if you're looking through that shareholders letter, you can see it's right there how everything went up and down. And in 1996, he wrote in his shareholders letter, if you aren't willing to own a stock for 10 years, don't even think about owning it for 10 minutes. So it's, hey, that's plain. That doesn't need to be explained. So that's one of the things you definitely want to look at when it comes to creating wealth. 4, don't ignore the value of intangible assets. Companies have both tangible assets and they also have intangible. So your tangible is things you can touch, feel, and see, your factors, your capital, inventory, and things like that. Intangible is things like your reputation and your brand. That's why, when it comes to social media marketing, getting yourself out there, putting things out there, these are the intangible things that people don't think about. And Warren said, I was taught to favor tangible assets and to shun businesses who value dependent largely upon economic goodwill. He wrote that in 1983. And the bias caused me to make important business mistakes of omission, although relatively few of commission. And so what that basically means is because, business is from the heart of people. Your people who start businesses, you got to find somebody who's in it to win it, who's in it for the long run. And they may not, just like he was in the beginning, not seeing the results that they want, but it's something inside of them that says, they weren't born to be average. God is speaking in them and letting them know that they were put here for a greater purpose. And maybe that timing of that purpose has not showed up because they're not where they need to be at yet, but just don't, you just got to know that it was already promised to us. We just got to go through the process in order to make that happen. So that's a huge thing that you want to have you want to think about it, as I was having these conversations with the people about working with us, it's like, I don't know, it's just something about the first 5 or 10 minutes of the conversation. I could kind of tell whether I want that person on the team by the conversations, the questions they ask, the energy in their voice. I knew with some, I'm like, yes, this person would make a great partner, executive with us. No, I'm not, our energy is not connecting with this other person. So you gotta remember those things. Think outside of just degrees, experience, and all of that. Nobody can judge the heart of someone. Nobody can know how tough someone is based on the neighborhood they came from, the color they are, the gender they are, the schools that they went to. You can't judge that heart because you can't see that. If somebody wants it bad enough, it could take decades and years to make it happen, but they are determined to get it done. So that's the person you want to lock arms with and you want to run with. He said, number 5, conglomerates earn their terrible reputations. And conglomerates are corporations made up of multiple different businesses. And some people think of his company as that. However, he argues that defining Berkshire as a conglomerate is only partially correct. In his 2020 letter that I'm sharing with you, he says that the conglomerate earned their terrible reputation, and why owning stock in these businesses may not be the best investment strategy. And for one, conglomerate tends to buy one company in their entity, but this approach leads to 2 problems. One, great business has no interest in having anyone take them over, says Buffett, and only conglomerates then have to focus on mediocre companies that often lack competitive strength. So go in there and read, as you go to this letter, the first and the second problems on that. I'm just going to touch base on some of those. Number 6, market volatility. Ignore short-term movements in stock prices. Like, for the layman investor, the price is everything. They buy low, they sell high. There's even a Wall Street proverb to this effect: you can't go broke taking a profit. Buffett disagrees completely with this approach, and so does the Bible, right? When you read, the Proverbs that I was talking about, that wealth gained hastily will dwindle and go away. So you want it to last, and make sure that you're in it to win it. You're in it for the long run. If you can't be in it for 10 years, don't be in it for 10 minutes, right? He said, without fail, Mr. Market appears daily and names a price at which he will either buy your interest or sell you his. Sad to say, the poor fella has incurable emotional problems, Buffett wrote in his 1987 letter. Again, emotions will crush you, guys. Don't get caught up in emotions and let that destroy you from your business. Number 7, be fearful when others are greedy, and greedy when others are fearful. In the aftermath of the 2007-2008 financial crisis, few economic dogmas were hit harder than in that particular market. So it became very clear that executives at these biggest banks on earth systematically underestimated the risk that they were putting out there. So when you go through and you're looking at stuff, just like Jesus said, who you would want to build a tower and you don't count the cost because you might not be able to, it won't last, and then people will laugh at you. So this is like straight from the Bible on making that happen. So you definitely want to, count your costs. Number 8, save your money in peacetime so you can buy more during wartime. And that just basically means everything that comes in, don't spend it. See, it wasn't that he wanted to live in that house forever, but he did. But because the house wasn't what it was about. He wanted to stack up and make sure that he had enough money when opportunities came, he can take advantage of those. And when you go to BibleBusinessAcademy.com and you download our free report on building a business with biblical principles, we share some of these same philosophies with you to help you grow in your faith and finances. So like literally you can watch that and you can take some notes on that. You can read that and it'll give you some insight on all of those things. So I'm going to go over 2 here. So let's drop down to number 9, investment strategy. Look for companies that reinvest their earnings into growth. You don't want a company that reinvests their earnings into elaborate vacations, big mansions, and always spending out money. Because if you see a spending habit, then that's a habit that when it comes time to pay payroll, no one has money to pay payroll. When it comes time to pay their rent or their mortgage on the business, no one has it, and then that business goes out and goes broke. So you want to pay attention to these things. Those are people who love money. Those dangers that I talked about, you'll find all of those in the Bible. So make sure you go back and you research those and you read those. And number 10, don't invest in businesses that are too complex to fully understand. You definitely want to be able to understand your business and understand what you need to do and how you need to make it happen. So guys, I hope that brought you value tonight. There's so many more of these. And when you are part of our group, and we're able to help you, I'm going to switch myself back there, and we're able to help you and have conversations about things like this, because these are the things that people don't talk about. Everyone thinks business is, is great and you're out there and you're making things happen. No, there's so much behind the scenes that are never discussed or talked about, that people put out all this money to get a business started. And then guess what? When it's not going the way they want it to go because they didn't do the proper research, or they didn't seek wise counsel, or they didn't pray about it, right? And they didn't get guidance from God, then things start to fall down and dreams get crushed. And they don't have to be that way. You just got to find some obedience and doing things the right way. So if you want to build a business and you want to do that with biblical principles, or if you already have a business started and you want to market it and get more customers and have your business grow, make sure you go to BibleBusinessAcademy.com and download our free report, and then book a strategy call with us so that we can help you with these insights and other insights that we have. And again, my name is Cathy McReynolds. Make sure you hit that follow button, and every Thursday at 7 p.m. we are here to share you tips. You can we're live on LinkedIn, we're live on Facebook and YouTube right now. So hey, everybody out there, I'm going to see if I have any questions over here in the chat. I don't see any questions, so we're going to go ahead and end this show today. But I appreciate y'all. Let us know how we can help. Make sure you go to and download your free report on how to grow your business with biblical principles at BibleBusinessAcademy.com. And we do have a free gift for you when you submit all of your information. So appreciate you guys. Love you guys. Have a blessed day. And we